Am I doing something wrong?
I don't know.
So they may not have their cameras on if they're smart, because I'm meeting right now. So.
Stacy, this is Chelsea. I'm the C, and I have my video off intentionally.
Okay, that's fine. You're welcome to do that. Mine was intentioned to be open. So now I have it. So thank you. Thanks. So we'll wait for Mark to join us. And it looks like Trent.
Hello.
Hey there, Mark. So this is Trent Austin, the latest member of our commission. Welcome, Trent.
Welcome. It's good to be here. Thanks for having me.
We're excited. Thank you so much. In just a minute, I'm going to ask everybody during our roll call here to please tell me that you're here, and then just tell a little bit about who you are, and give Trent an idea of who he's working with. And then Trent, if you would also tell us a little bit about yourself, that would be awesome. So everybody kind of already knows me, so I'll just tell you while we're waiting. I'm Stacy Short, and I am a longtime resident, my lifetime resident, really long time resident of Independence, and I live near Inglewood, and I'm very invested in our community. And it's been a lot of fun for me to serve on this art commission. I have a degree from the Kansas City Art Institute. I still practice art, and it's still a practice for me. My only career in the field was when I was very first out of college, where I was an art director of a graphics studio in Texas. So I've gone on from there today. I don't do that anymore. I have a real job and do all this good stuff on all the other spare time I can. So now you know a little about me. And looks like Nancy, you're up in my upper left-hand corner. Can you start? You want to tell us about you?
Sure. I grew up in northern Indiana in a community of 250 people. And I always knew there was more than my small provincial life. So I, in high school, did a lot of theater, a lot of arts, and out of high school, I'm kind of one of those against the curve kind of persons. I was not blessed to be able to be supported by a father and mother that would send me to college. So I moved to Bloomington, Indiana, and spent 5 years working there independently and going to classes as long as I could stay in the class until I got caught. And so then I kept moving on. But I got married in 1976 to a man that was going into the Navy. And I thought that was fantastic that he would go away and send money back, and I could be a kept woman and do what I wanted to do. So we've lived in Independence for 25 years now, and I love this town. This is my hometown, and I now am the president of the City Theater. I am the administrator of the Living History Program for Tourism Department, and just love my community, love working, and I just, it's so exciting. Every day there's something new.
Thanks, Nancy.
Mm-hmm.
How about Cindy?
Hello, I'm Cindy McLean. I currently am operating 16 family businesses on the Independence Square, combination of restaurants and retails. My background is, though, I have a BFA in fine arts with a concentration in graphics. So that's my connection with the arts, and I've recently started actually doing it again, so that's exciting. But I am a big proponent of I moved from Boulder, Colorado to here 35 years ago-ish. But anyway, I'm a big proponent of art in a city and the difference that it can make just in the quality of life. And so that's really why I am pleased that the mayor asked me to be on this commission.
Thanks. Hey, Byron, how about you? You want to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Not sure I heard all that, but I'll try to respond. I've been in Independence for the last 70 years, during which I've practiced law. Pretty much retired now, and in my retirement years, sort of turned sculptor and a part-time painter. Don't have any academic art background, although I've taken lessons from the Art Institute, Scottsdale School of Art, and several other facilities around the country, and enjoy doing that sort of thing. Anxious to do what I can to promote art in Independence and make it more meaningful and help to create more of a tourist attraction and generally improve the image of our great town.
Thank you, Byron. Chelsea, I see you're on. You're muted. If you would unmute and tell us a little bit about yourself, introduce yourself.
Yeah, certainly. Hi, I'm Chelsea Templeton. I am an attorney at Stinson downtown. I practice corporate finance, mostly mergers and acquisitions and contract negotiation and that sort of thing. As far as my connection to the arts go, for the past 5 years or so, I have served as a board member for the Nelson and their Young Friends of Art group. I chaired Party Arty 2 years ago and really enjoy being involved in community programs that center on the arts. I'm also on the board of Kansas City Young Audiences, and so I was really pleased and honored that the mayor asked me to join this commission as well and help support arts and independence.
Thank you, Chelsea. How about you, Katie? I see you joined us.
Can you hear me?
Perfectly.
Okay. My name is Katie Gall. I'm born and raised in Independence, and I'm an interior designer. I went to Kansas State, and I work at an architecture firm in Lenexa, Kansas. Let's see, what else? I think that's me in a nutshell. I've been on the commission since it was started.
Katie's quite modest. She's very skilled and a talented and very busy interior designer, and keeps a beautiful home here in Independence, and we're thrilled to have her on this commission as well. Monica, are you with us? How about, see who's missing? Matt, by any chance, are you with us? Well, if we could have a little introduction of Mark and Eric and whoever other staff member is here today. We'd like to make sure Trent knows who has been leading the way for us and supporting us all the way.
Eric, do you want to go first? Or do you want me to?
Sure, I can go first. Eric Erfer, I'm the Director of Parks, Recreation, and Tourism for the City of Independence. I've been here for a little over 15 years now. Also involved with the Silverstein Ice Centers Arena. That's under our umbrella as well. And currently, believe it or not, we are just as involved with ESF6, which is our emergency response function in relation to this pandemic, as we are with Parks, Rec, and Tourism these days. In a prior life, I was Director of Parks and Recreation for the City of Clayton, Missouri. Was there for 10 years and was involved with a lot of art installations there in our parks and our public spaces, and also served as the Operations Director for the St. Louis Art Fair for 6 years.
Thanks. Mark?
Well, hi, Trent. Welcome to the group. I'm Mark Randall, Assistant City Manager, and I get to be the staff support for the Arts Commission at the mayor's request. And so I've been with the City of Independence for 4 years. Before that, I guess I've been in the city management business for 39 years. I was with Clay County, Lee Summit, and City of Pleasant Hill. I was city administrator of Pleasant Hill actually for 28 years. And so when actually I was involved with the Arts Commission in Lee Summit, getting it, the first one started back, I guess, about 86, and then involved with supporting the art folks in Pleasant Hill as well. So I was happy when the mayor asked me to come and help with this group here, which also has a function in economic development because, which is one of the things I oversee with the city, is this is a 1% for the arts body. So any city facilities that are built, 1% of that budget is supposed to be set aside for the art, for public art. But then also from an economic development standpoint, 1% of whatever city incentives are provided to a business that is doing expansion and getting like a tax abatement deal, there 1% of that city part of it also goes into the public art fund. So it's a great little thing. So we're just kind of started doing some of that stuff. So, but we've already had a few successes in the 1% for the arts program. But anyway, welcome. We're glad you're here.
So who else has joined us that I'm not seeing? Hasn't been introduced? I was expecting Monica Kettenhoffen, and I don't have her phone number. I was going to try to dial her. I don't have her phone number handy. Well, let me just begin by then offering to open the meeting. This is Thursday, September 10th, our virtual meeting of the Mayor's Advisory Commission on the Arts. And we'll begin with this approval of our minutes from the previous meeting on August 13th. Is there anyone who has not had an opportunity to look over those minutes? If not, may I have a motion to approve?
I move.
That was Byron. And a second, please.
Second, this is Cindy.
Thank you, Cindy. Any discussion? Without dissension, I will say the minutes are approved. Anyone disapprove? Thank you. We'll move forward to our topic number 3, which is the virtual art tour, which is why I was hoping that Monica was going to join us. She's done an extensive amount of work keeping up with us on all this. Hey, I just see Morris joined us. Thanks for joining us today, Morris. We're glad you're here. I want to make sure that you know Trent Austin is with us. He's the newest member of our commission. And Morris is also from this city. And in hopes that Monica joins us here in a few seconds, Morris, would you just introduce yourself to Trent and let him know your role here?
Sure. Yeah. Sorry, I'm running late. I had to work. I had a meeting out on Rock Creek Trail, and I'm a little wet. It's raining out there, but I'm the assistant director for Parks, Recreation, Tourism. So I typically my role relates to most of the projects. So construction projects, any of the budgeting projects, things like that, financial reporting. That's kind of my role. So, and all of their duties is assigned. So whatever my boss tells me to do, that's what I do.
And he does it really well. So thank you. Thanks so much. So, hey, I guess we'll go back here to the virtual art tour. Monica did send us an extensive amount of material that she's worked on. Did everyone get a copy of her preliminary list? She has 19 pieces listed in it. And then I went back to our history when we started this back in August of 2018. There was a list, or July of 2018, there was a list of pieces that were offered by the different commission members. And it looks like on her list of 18 pieces, it doesn't include Stella at the Spring and the Andrew Drum Memorial bronze. And possibly, I wasn't clear exactly, possibly the bronze doors on the temple by Tom Corbin. I'm not sure. So I was hoping that we would be able to have a conversation about that. Mark, did you get to talk with her about what she meant by combination?
Yes, and I think that that she got a affirmative response from the on-sale folks that are doing the virtual tour. What she was basically saying is that if we have multiple artwork at one location, does that count? We only at 20. Trent, I should back up. We're doing a virtual art tour, basically, and it's hooked up to the one that tourism has been running for some time. So it's really a great thing, but we're limited to at this time to 20 pieces of public art to be on this virtual tour. So her question was, if you have multiple pieces at one location, can we get those to count as one piece? And my understanding, and maybe Eric and Morris, they were in on I think the email chain also at that with Christy, but my take was that they were saying that yes, you could have multiple things listed at that one location. So, and then it kind of gets into how you present it. I don't know the video. I guess that's how you'd have to make sure because there can be a video associated with them on this tour. So, that's how you would do that. So anyway, I think her answer was affirmative that, yeah, we could do that. And so that's where, perhaps the bronze doors could be added with other pieces like the World Plaza there or something. I apologize about the Drum Farm one. I don't know how that didn't get. I thought we had that on the list, but I guess she didn't have it on there. But I know that one is definitely needs to be added. But Eric, isn't that pretty much, was that your take of the response with on-sale?
Yeah, they can treat it as a site and then list multiple pieces at that site, and then even in addition to that can provide links for either further information or redirecting to different web pages from that same area. So you could have a number of different pieces at one site listed.
So I think her list has a few of them on there that could be, that she says, okay, those could possibly combine. And the question you had with some of them is, one of the ones she even mentioned was, the Bingham collection, at the courthouse with the Andrew Jackson statue. That to me seems a little bit too much of a stretch. I know they're kind of in the same location, but one's a whole collection and another, I don't know. Just throwing out there, whatever your thoughts are, realizing we do only have the 20, so that's going to make it tough. But the bronze at the spring could be put in with because you got two bronzes at the Sermon Center, right, Eric?
Yeah,
bronzes.
Yes.
Indian Boy and Stella.
Yeah,
Yes.
and then, you could also combine Bridger with Pioneer Woman at the National Frontier Trails Museum.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you could combine Harry Truman statue with the Jackson statue possibly. I don't know. This is what you all need to decide what are your 20?
And if we absolutely are above 20, Mark, we can always get a price for adding a couple more sites. They're pretty flexible in their work.
Well, that's good to know.
I think we need to have the conversation and understanding about exactly what it means to be a combination. Is it just the visual or the mapping, or is there for example, the description parts are so different for some of these things, where they've come from in their history, the artists and so forth. Are those things identified then individually, so that the viewer would know, if I got to this map location, I would see this and know that this written information goes with this, the right thing, and so on. And that's the part I just wasn't clear about, what would actually be there when you arrived at the spot or when you pulled it up on the map.
From what I understand, you would have a photograph and a description of each of the pieces that were there. And one of the advantages, I think, to making it site specific initially is, well, for example, at the Sermon Center, you could identify those two pieces, but you could also have a link to the theater page as well. And then it just takes you to their website, right? And they can talk about all that without having to do a separate site for them. So they're not really related in any way whatsoever other than their proximity.
But it's clear to the viewer what they are seeing. I love that. That sounds dynamite. I think that we should, it seems to me that we should be able to make those combinations. I mean, that would be a really positive thing for a visitor to see it like that, to know if they went to that space or that they would see multiple pieces there. So I think that's terrific. Maybe we could even pare it down to under 20 pieces using that kind of approach to it. Do we have all of the content for the identification pages? That was my next question for Monica. Do you happen to know that, Mark?
I do not know. It looks to me like she put down what she had. I know that the ones that we have on our virtual gallery on the city website has more detail than what she's got on here, though. So we probably do need to dig up more information on all of these pieces, really.
And make sure that it's accurate information too. We need to vet whatever resource that we have to make sure it's accurate.
Yeah, I think the 10 that are on the virtual gallery on the website, we've gotten everything we could find on them. So I think those are pretty good. Although there was one of them I know at least. I think we don't know who the artist was. One of the bronzes, I think, at the Sermon Center, I think. But the other ones we had pretty good. We had the artist and the year and the name, stuff like that. But some of these other ones that she's listed here, we have not done any research on. So if anybody knows information on these, we could maybe we could come out with a list of the ones that we need more information on.
I think that's a good thing to do. I think that should be an action step now for this particular project.
Cindy, this is Cindy. What if like we all chose a couple of them? Like for instance, I could choose the Community of Christ easily and email them and put the onus on them to give us the information rather than any of us having to research it. Or, you know, if I knew some of the other ones, just I could email them and say, would you please send me everything that you have? But give them a deadline. Like, can we just have a deadline? Because you have to give me a deadline.
I think we all work that way, Cindy.
Also, Stacy, which of the bronzes at the Sermon Center do you not know? Or Mark, whoever that was, Mark. Which of the bronzes?
I thought it was
we have Stella. We know
Stella.
that. Yeah, we know Stella. The question is whether the Indian Boy was done by her or someone else.
Ah, okay.
This is Katie. I did research on that a while back, and I can send that information out.
Perfect. So do we want to, if we just go with all the pieces that are not on the 10 on our current website, do we just assume that we need to get information and vet that information for every one of those and then divide it up, pass it around? So I didn't make that kind of a list right at this moment. I can make that list, and Mark, you could distribute it to everybody. Everybody could pick one. And I think Cindy's method for reaching out for information to come into us instead of us to go find it is our first best step. And then after that, we're going to have to pursue it. As far as a deadline, gosh, you know, yesterday. So what's a reasonable deadline for that? Just by our next meeting or in the next couple of weeks? Or I know there's quite a bit going on around here this month. I'm not sure how people's time is, so.
Well, why don't we just try to make it for the next meeting, and then if we have to postpone, we can, but that would give us some time to try to research these and get something. It'd be nice to get something in on there pretty soon, I think.
Yeah. This is a perfect time to walk. I mean, we don't want to wait too long. Our next meeting is October 8th. If we do it, there's 5 Thursdays next month. So if we could get this emailed, if everyone participated and got their information back to you, Mark, by the 1st of October, that's a week ahead of our meeting, then we would be able to consolidate and know what we're working with from that point, and hopefully, does that work? Is that a good timeline? Is that too late? Should we do it sooner?
Stacy, I was going to suggest that maybe we, like for first steps for doing the contact, or at least putting the question out there to whomever we need to, maybe that first deadline for us is September 15th or 17th, like before next Friday, so that then we have time to get the response back, so that we have the answer back by the meeting,
Okay.
or at least into March. So it's kind of like, it's almost like 2 steps, because I have to email them and then give them a week probably to respond to me, if not 2. But
I agree. And I think it's actually almost more like 3 steps, because first we have to get that list and split it among us.
yeah,
So, Mark, how soon could you get that list and split it among us? I can
get to it next week. I can do it next week. I'm not sure exactly what.
I might try to do that myself.
I
by
can try to
Friday,
get it
by tomorrow.
Well, let me. I can. You're just talking about cross-referencing this list with the gallery list, and then send you all out a list of the ones we don't have any information on.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. I could get that out here in a day or 2. That shouldn't be a problem. And then but as far as then then you all would send out would try to track it down from there.
Yes, we could take what we felt like we could achieve and move forward, and we'll have to share obviously with a central point of contact or with everyone to make sure we don't duplicate efforts.
So what was the deadline on that Cindy was talking about on, what was that?
Well, today's the 10th and the 17th is next Thursday. So if we could pair up the list, if we knew what we were looking for by next Thursday, that would be really helpful. And if we could then reach out and have something back by the following 24th, does that work for you, Cindy?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I just think that, like, for me, I just know me. So I'm really just talking about myself right now and what I need, but
well,
yeah.
We all want to be you, Cindy, so let's do it your way.
That's what everybody should say to me.
Okay. So we have you're going to help us as soon as you can, Mark. And then on the 17th, we'll all have selected what we're going to work on. And then the onus will be on whomever we can, but in final result on ourselves to get it back to the group by October 1st or sooner. How about October 1st? Then our meeting then would follow on the 8th.
So October 1st was.
We're going to have our final information in by October 1st.
Oh, I thought it was the 24th that they were supposed to get back to you. Are you saying October 1st?
Which is it, Cindy? We want to be you. So I think if you put it on your whomever we're reaching out to on the 24th, you should be able to have an answer to the group by the 1st. So that would be your internal time on the 24th, and then to the group by the 1st. Okay, that work? Cool.
What is Trent's email? I was going to send out an email. I wanted to include him.
Yeah, can you include Mark, can you include Trent's email on that list for sure? And then Mark, Trent, if you want to share with Katie, that's great. She's got something I think to send now. Is that right?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, I just added it to the chat.
Thank
Oh,
you.
perfect. Thank you.
Okay, is there anybody, is there any additional information on the virtual tour right now? I'm gonna bring this up now. I know we're out of order here from our agenda, but it is something that came to us, and it's also a virtual tour. It's a little bit different, but it is a response that I shared with every member except you, Trent, I'm sorry. But Lee's Summit has an annual art fair, and it's a pretty successful, and it's been going on for a while. Of course, this year it's impacted by COVID. So they came up with a nice creative response in place of that. And I sent you the rough draft that I got from them a while back. Now, if you go to their website, on their city website, you can see that they have Lee Summit Arts and Culture Week, October 9th through the 18th. And I can actually forward, I will forward this to everyone. It is a really dynamic approach to the replacement, but it's, I think it's got a lot of success potential because there's really no requirements. It's super flexible. If you want to participate, you can. They have a central place where anyone who wants to participate can send in their suggestion, their participation values, whatever they have. It's a collaborative initiative, and it's by their Arts Council and their tourism department. And I just want you to take a look at how low budget a pretty successful project can be, because I think a lot of times we think about our lack of funds and we're immediately distressed and we're immediately shut down by the fact that we have no working budget. These folks have working partners, and they are spending their working partners to the bone. It's great. They have nonprofits, and anyone can participate. Writers, podcasters, filmmakers, creative retail businesses, anything, schools, anything that anybody has an idea that is a cultural or art donation to this event can participate, and that they can choose to have their own funding return if that's important to them or not. They don't have to have, they don't have a fee. You don't have to buy from them. They don't have to participate. So it's a little probably sketchy, a little loose, and it probably makes them a little bit nervous, but I think they know their partners well enough to guide them. All they're spending is their time and their website. And the city website for their art and culture area is pretty nice. It's pretty flexible, and they can do a lot with it. So I just wanted to share this with you. We could participate with them if we wanted to in some way. I don't know what that would be, if it's just awareness, but anyone is invited to participate. And they reached out to us for, there's a reason they did. They have a respect for us as well. So I'm not sure how we could use it with them. I'm not exactly sure if we could use it ourselves immediately, but it's certainly something to think about. And I think a really great, timely response to our, our health environment right now. So I'll pass this along to you if you can't find it yourself on the Lee Summit City's website. And I just got the finished copy of this recently. So I will send that out to everyone after this meeting. just keep that in mind. It's really exciting when you read about it. And when I shared it with the mayor, she thought it was a great kind of a connect for Santa Calagon. And as I think it would be also, it might be something that we could consider for next year's Santa Calagon as a way to support and participate our city. So just keep it in mind, keep it real open, thoughtful, use your imagination, be creative when you look into this and see how you think it might be useful. I think it's a dynamic tool. So that's it about that. And we can go on to our next agenda point. If there's any discussion about that, about our former, then we'll move on. So that leads us to art planning and funding on the agenda. And I don't know if you or someone want to lead that part of the conversation. Mark, is that something you wanted to share?
I think that we were just putting that on because we had it sort of tabled at the last meeting, and I believe there was something about talking to Inglewood Arts about their recent fundraising effort, and I think there was maybe you had something, didn't you mention that there was a willingness on their part to share with with the commission what some of their fundraising had been.
Yeah. Exactly. That is now, the invitation is September 23rd. I think you all received it. It's a social invitation for the group to meet at the Swan Dive, which is the outdoor patio portion of Vivalor there in Inglewood. It's hosted by Inglewood Arts. It's a wine and cheese reception social from 5 to 6:30. They are planning to present their current up-to-date information about what's going on in Inglewood and Inglewood Arts. This was their response when I had asked them to tell us about their proposal to the Rotary. So we'll get a good idea and be able to ask questions that you might have about it and visit with the key partners involved in all of that. And it is live. It is, there will be open, they have open doors on the part of the building, and then the patio, they will keep social distance suggestions in place, and you're welcome to attend, and we totally understand if you don't feel comfortable attending. So if you haven't already responded to your invitation with a RSVP, I encourage you to do so right away so they can get that set up. It's again September 23rd from 5 until 6:30. So that's it.
Then the other thing is for Trent, some background there is that we've been talking about needing to do some fundraising for public art because that 1% program does not provide very much funding, and or very up to now hasn't provided very much or very often. So it would be nice to do some significant public art initiative, which would take money. And the Rotary does their annual fundraiser, which Nancy's very involved with that, and they've encouraged us through the years to participate in that, and we really haven't jumped into it yet. Inglewood Arts just did, and so I think they were just going to try to share with us maybe some of their materials they used in their application process. Maybe that's something we should consider, either not just for necessarily Rotary, but for any other source of potential funding if the commission chose to seek some funding to supplement the those 1% for the arts funds.
Thanks for that background. So any other comments or questions regarding that then we'll move on to our other business. No, sorry, to the art policy. And so I have done an extensive amount of research on our art policy and trying to get a grip on something we can actually manage to be a useful tool at the soonest opportunity. And so a while back, when we decided some policy to use, we copied Bentonville, Arkansas's public art policy. So I started by revisiting that, and they created that in 2013. And very interestingly, just a couple of months ago, they have totally amended it and have revisited that. And I think that their art policy today fits us even better than when it did at that particular time. However, once again, I still believe that art policy is a comprehensive product. I mean, we need to have our mission, goals, priorities, objectives, our core principles, all those things immediately answered by our policy. And so until we actually maybe revisit that ourselves, I propose that we have a offering for policy of what we have as suggested rules, those things that are how-tos for meeting the immediate needs and responses for any current or immediately future needs. For example, a really good example was the recent chalk walk. The organizers went to, I think, Cindy, you went to Mark Randall to get answers for pretty fundamental questions that we would hope that could be easily answered without going to, city staff person to have to answer these things and try to figure this out. So if we just had the basics available as another page on our website, I think those things could be answered, because there's some really core issues that I don't know the answers to, that we need to, I guess we know them, but we need to clarify them and make them truly workable. So, for example, how do you make a mural in Independence? What happens next? If you look on our website, the city's website, it would be a challenge to know where to go to even look for something like that. And if you wanted to have a chalk walk, where do you start out? Where should you start? So I think we need to probably come up with an abbreviated suggested policy. These are things we suggest, and then from that, develop a really comprehensive policy that answers the questions that are transparent and are direct and understandable. And I think that we need to have a workshop to develop those things. I think that it would be great if we did just a commission workshop to confirm the questions that we want to answer. And the thing is, all of the answers are already out there. We already know what cities are doing. Successful cities all over the place are doing things differently, but it works for them, or it doesn't work for them, and they figure it out. So if we know the answers that we need to have, we can go find the questions that have already been posed by other cities in their art policy and answer those questions. Then when we're confident that those things all answer to our goal, mission, objective, and core principles, then we can create those things appropriately as an ordinance that can be policed or however it takes to manage that. And I know that ordinance is not a popular topic, but it's one that needs to be in place to make it workable. So, any comments? Okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and send you the Bentonville. I'm actually going to do it after our meeting with the Inglewood Arts, because I have a few comments that I'll create and have together. So I'll get it all together, and right after we have that meeting, I'll have it to you. So that'll be the 3rd week of this month, 4th week of this month.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I had to step aside there for just a second, but so I missed the last part of what your comment was there about the abbreviated policy that would later be added more. What came after?
Well, I think that following that, if we just got some basic rules out there that people can look to on our page on the website, and at least lead them to where they need to go. I'm sure there are people that look and don't know to go to Mark Randall. There's people that just don't know how to get to where they're headed. And if we just put those basics out there to guide them, that'll get us through until we have some really concrete, well-formed, and enforceable or reasonable or flexible enough policy in place that answers to our mission and our goals and our principles and all those values that we want to create with this art commission.
Well, we could start working on compiling where all that information, like you said, trying to get it from the different sources and trying to compile it into one location. That would be helpful. So we could start putting that together without a problem.
Wait a whole lot more than you probably want. So,
well, I was just talking about what's in the city code.
I have that. I have
yeah.
all city code.
Okay, well,
art district, and I have all that part. I have the signage part. I have a lot of those elements.
Okay, well, great. Well, if you've got that, that's perfect.
The hardest part, I don't really think is making the ordinance. The hardest part is getting the information gathered so that they can make it into the ordinance. So if we can cover if we can answer the kinds of questions that make us transparent and clear and effective. For example, anyone, the public, should be able to look at this and say, answer the question, how are funds allocated from capital construction projects for the arts? That's one we have semi-covered. But then when we go on to say, what % of the funds are used for project management and administration? Those are the kinds of questions that people want to know the answers to. We have these answers. We know we have the answers. We just don't have it all clear and available to people. So those details like that are important, but what's our policy for accepting or declining gifts of art? So we need to be able to answer those sorts of things. How do we handle the issue of community involvement? We need to be able to identify that thing. If people want to know how to be involved, and we can't say, well, we don't have that, you can't do that. We want to be the yes people. We want to be this is how you do it people, instead of going, well, we'll figure it out. So if we can get some clear information, how do we, what's the vehicle for making a call for artists? Those are things that are consistently available in art policy throughout the country. Those are the kinds of fundamental questions that we want to answer in our completed art policy. In the meantime, we want to tell them it does have to be, it can't be bad content. It can't be, you can't just write on a public building. What's the difference between graffiti and art? We need to have the fundamentals out there that people can look to right now and then have their resource for who they go to, somebody that can answer their questions. So until that time, Mark, you're going to be stuck by answering all those kinds of questions, which fortunately I don't think you mind, but it ought to be easier than that.
So are you going to compile that information you have and send it over to me to try, or what? I'm just trying to find out what's the next step. What are you going to do with that information that you've gathered, and what do you want to do?
I would like to have a workshop with this commission. Is that something we can do that doesn't have to be a public event, so we can hash some things out? I don't know how it works with the Sunshine Law.
I think it would be a public meeting.
Okay, and so it would be just like this meeting right now?
Yes, but you know, it sounds like if you're just talking about stuff that's in the city code anyway that you've compiled, plus you want to have a few other questions that people might have. So we could just compile that into a draft and have it available for members to look over and discuss at a public meeting. Shouldn't be a problem.
I think that we need to revisit our mission and goals and priorities, because if our priorities don't match, you know, right now our priorities are our visual art tour, and that we have kind of changed our priorities and goals since we started in 2014. So I think that we probably need to revisit some of those things, and it will answer a lot of the questions. Nancy?
I totally agree with what you were just saying, Stacy, because this is basic strategic planning. And I think if we've got ideas, some in place, some not in place, new things arise all the time. And like you said, these mandates or these structures are out there. We just need to, what do we want? Where do we want to see it happen? I think it truly is just basic strategic planning for this commission. And so that we have a good, solid view for the city that's already wrapped into with the city plans.
Thank you for agreeing with me. I well said.
Stacy?
Yes, Cindy.
In Mark, maybe rather than calling it a workshop, do we just call it a study session and record it? And then
I don't know this. Yeah. I don't know that. I don't know. That would sounds interesting option.
I don't know. I actually haven't read our bylaws exactly, but I know like for planning commission, I can have a pre-meeting, but we're recording it.
Yeah, I don't know if we've never really set that up for this. I don't know. I'll just have to find out about that. But if you're making decisions, it should be a open meeting.
Yeah. So you could make it public and just record it, because you probably wouldn't have that many people join it anyway. But
we wouldn't necessarily be making decisions. We'd just be putting down our ideas, and then it would be voted on at a meeting.
Yeah.
You know,
exactly.
It would be a workshop in that we are just hashing out ideas. It wouldn't be official until it's approved. So
no, but it is still, as a commission, you have to do everything in public.
Okay.
So
And I don't think that's necessarily a bad idea, because there may be people in our community that have interest in this and may have some information to share with us. So having it, you know, public, again, this is sort of a very small wedge of interest, I think, in our community that benefits all community. But so, yeah, because I'm not aware of all the rules and regulations either. So thank you for bringing that up, Cindy.
Then the other thing I was wondering is, you kind of know all of the questions that people are going to ask.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe make that list for us before that workshop study session, so that like we could just hone in on those things.
Mm-hmm.
If we answer those questions, we'll probably be halfway there.
I agree.
That's a great idea.
I totally agree. It was just gathering all this. I mean, I went, you know, East Coast to West Coast, and now I've circled back in, and it does seem like what you said. I think that we have the questions. We just need to be able to answer them. For us, what's the best way to answer them? And for the community, what's the best way to provide those answers? What's the vehicle for them to learn what we want to share? So that would be, I think I do have that to a great point. And of course, I would be open to having additional things added to that, but I'm happy to share this list And I will put that on my own timetable to have that to you. In fact, I'm probably not going to have that until the 25th. I'll try to have it a little bit earlier than that, a week earlier, but I for sure will have it by the 25th of this month, which is 2 Fridays away. But I will try to have it to you sooner with my list of questions. In the meantime, if you have ideas, thoughts, anything that comes your way, and you either want to jot it down for yourself to share or to send it on to me, that would be welcomed. So I encourage you to do that. And for me, when I applied a real project to policy or to rules, it helped me to understand what the questions are, what people need to know. So, for example, Cindy, you had to ask the city, can we use the sidewalks? What's the material that we can use? Do I ask the Parks Department this? Do I ask the city that? So those are the kinds of questions that we want to ask. And then maybe, maybe someone thinks, how do I want to put up a statue. Where do but I want to put it on the public property. Who do I reach out to? Where do I go to do that? And what are the rules? What can it include? What can it not include? And what's the city going to do for me? And do I have to pay for maintaining this? And do I have to police it? Are they going to take care of it? All those kinds of questions from beginning to end of a project. So if you apply a real project and think through it, you can come up with some pretty helpful questions. That's just a suggestion. Katie, you probably have good suggestions for a successful project. Have any suggestions? Good questions to consider.
I will put some thought into it as well. I'm also going to email Monica to have her send out what we had previously worked on. I think it might be good to revisit what we have already done.
On the policy?
Yeah.
Well, do keep in mind that Bentonville policy is entirely changed. So it's easy to find it though on the Bentonville.
Yeah. I think I just found it. They have two different things. One is 5 pages, City of Bentonville Public Art Policy, and then I see a developer art kit.
Well, the kit hasn't changed. That was done in 2017, but the more recent policy, that's you'll see that one in there. That's their new policy. I think it was from the end of last year, and you can see the amended old policy on their website as well. You want to see how much was changed, because it was a lot longer when they started. So they've got
that's what I was thinking.
Yeah. So that was really exciting for me to see how that had already been revisioned.
Yeah, streamlined
in a big way. So there's some things we probably need to answer in the virtual category that haven't been considered yet. Those kinds of items are probably new. And I'm going to encourage you guys who are way more technical than me to address those, because I haven't done that much. Is there any other discussion right now for the art policy today? Okay, I have my action item, and if there's any other business that you'd like to share, this is a good time to do that. Anything going on we want to know about? Cindy, was your chalk walk a success? I saw a lot of work up there by the square, by the church.
Yeah, I felt like for our first one, I think Tammy and I were pretty happy, and I'm excited about how it came together, and that we have a wrap-up meeting in a couple weeks, I think, but I think we were excited just about how the prospects of it being a bigger deal and including, getting the neighborhood a little more active. But I will tell you, I mean, just kind of like the square, we realized I took a walk with the grandkids and I didn't realize how bad the sidewalks are on the way to Inglewood, because it would be pretty challenging to chalk those walks. But so that made me sad, but
it's kind of a good eye opener. We're getting to be more familiar with our city.
It 100% was, but yeah, I thought it was for our first one, and in the situation we're in, we were not disappointed. And people are so talented with chalk. Oh my!
I agree.
God. Just blown away.
Anybody?
I have a little thing. So I'm on the PTA at Bryant Elementary School, where my son attends, and I am the Reflections Contest chair. So Reflections is a national contest that PTA sponsors, and there are 6 different categories: dance choreography, film production, literature, music composition, photography, and visual arts. So the way it works is individual PTAs, such as ours, Bryant PTA, we solicit work from the students in the school, and the students submit, and then it's judged at the local level, and then the qualifying participants move on to the state level, and then it's judged at the state level, and then state sends on a certain amount to national. And so we started it at Bryant last year, which I remember doing it as a kid. My mom was the Reflections chair when I was a kid, so I remember participating. And then it kind of went away at Bryant, and then I brought it back last year. And so last year was our first year at Bryant, and my now second grader actually went on to national and was recognized at the national level. So his artwork will be on display in Washington, D.C. starting in the spring. And it will travel along with PTA's convention for the year. But my hope would be to increase the program. We had, I think, 6 participants at our school last year. And then Independence School District has the Independence Council of PTAs, and they were going to have a reflection showcase at one of the middle schools last spring. Of course, it got canceled because of COVID. So that was kind of disappointing. I don't know how many they received district-wide, but I think it would be a fun program to maybe get involved in. I had hope that this year we could host some workshops, like I was going to do it at Bryant, but it might be something that as a commission we could maybe do district-wide to try to encourage all of our independent schools to participate. So it's just a thought. I don't know if it's something we'd want to get involved in the future. I don't know that it's the best year for me to organize workshops. I was going to just start small and try to do some workshops at Bryant. Have somebody like Cheryl Harness is a children's book author and illustrator who lives in the McCoy neighborhood. And she was one of our judges last year, and it was great. So I was hoping maybe to convince her to help do the visual arts / literature portion of the workshop. So I kind of had thoughts that we would do something like that, but I think it's kind of a crazy year, so we won't probably hold the workshops. But in the future, I thought that might be kind of cool if we can invite all of the, independent school district kids to come to a workshop, maybe get inspired and have a little bit of coaching and have a stronger representation from the independent school district. So.
Well, I think it sounds wonderful. And personally, I feel like that was one of the fundamental goals of this commission, was to support any kind of community art organization or art project that we could. I mean, when it was appropriate, that we could support them in some manner. So maybe if there is a specific way that's obviously not financial, that we could support a program like that, I think that is part of our charge as a commission.
Yeah, I think so too. And there's a theme every year. So if we could maybe try for next year to maybe get some artists in our community together to help run some workshops, and it would, yeah, like you said, I don't think there would be any financial obligation, just people's time. So yeah, it'll just be something I'll keep on our radar.
I think that'd be really cool. I was just thinking too, I wrote it in my notes so that I didn't forget, but it would be neat on the website to have a button. I don't know whether you'd call it ways to share with your art community or what that would be, but you know, there's probably lots of retired artists or art teachers out there who would be happy to be judges for different opportunities, and it could be a click where they could see what other, you know, opportunities they had, you know, like doing little workshops for reflections or, you know, something where it'd be volunteer hours.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Is there anything else in our community? Well, then before we close, I think we have as many people as we're going to right now. Trent, would it be okay if you told us a little about yourself?
Sure. I'll make it quick. I know everybody's time is super valuable, but I've moved to Independence 2 years ago from the Boston area. I moved because my wife, she is the archivist at the audiovisual archivist, new archivist at the Truman Library. So we moved 2 years ago, and I own my own business. And before I started my own business, I toured and played professionally for about 25 years, but I got sick of living in a suitcase. So so I live here in Ramsgate, and one of my neighbors, Brent, said, "Hey, I've got an idea. Why don't you join the commission?" So you'll have to be patient with me. This is my first any official commission of any sort, but I'm anxious and excited to listen to everybody and see what Independence can offer. I love this town. I mean, it's coming from a city like we were in a suburb of Boston, but coming from a city like Boston, I see so much potential in the city of Independence, especially being a musician still. Well, a touring musician prior to COVID, we'll say, but so if anybody ever has any music questions that they want to bounce, my email is there, and you can call me anytime. And that's about it. So excited.
Trent, you play the horns.
I play the trumpet, yeah, and I own a business that's mostly virtual. It's actually mostly virtual mail order. That's like a pro shop that sells instruments throughout the world. So yeah.
Do you play other horns besides the trumpet?
Not well, but the trumpet is a hard enough beast. So, but yeah, so that's it.
Where can we hear you play?
Well, I'd had a few. I think that's how one night I have a pretty good following on social media, and that will bring me. I'll send you guys some questions about social media and the involvement with the commission, because I'm really into social media, and that's something I probably, if there's anything that we want to do or have done, I'm happy to add. But I do these little virtual concerts, and people from either customers or fans or whatever come and listen. And I think Brent was just walking by and he heard the trumpet wailing away. And we've done a few driveway concerts here. Before COVID, I had, a bunch of stuff lined up either at Kaufman or with the KCJO and things like that. But most of my performing actually was touring just as a guest artist, just because my business is, as you all know, there's got to be a way we can pay our rent and mortgage. So, but yeah. But there's stuff online if you wanted to hear, so for sure.
Well, we're looking forward to your participation in this commission. We're so happy that you decided to and agreed to join us. And we're looking forward to all your parts. Don't hold back. This is a group that works together. well when we all participate. So thank you so much for today, and we look forward to
Thank you.
visiting
Welcome.
with you again soon. Do you have something, Katie?
Oh, I just said welcome and thank
Okay.
you for joining us.
Our like I said earlier, next month our October has 5 Thursdays. So if we meet on the 8th, is that okay? That's the second Thursday of the month. Is that too early, or should you need to wait to the 15th? We'll plan on the 8th unless we hear something different. And Mark, if you would send us that reminder, it really is helpful. I know it's a pain, but I really appreciate it. So thanks for doing that, if you will. If there are any other comments, please offer those now. Otherwise, I'll call for a motion to adjourn.
I move to adjourn.
And is there a second? Trent, this is your time.
Second.
We got a second. There we go.
I had to unmute.
Thank you for participating.